All right, a little bit of factoring. One of the things you always want to look for is to take out a common factor if you can. So with both of these, 2 would be the biggest number that I can pull out, but I can also pull out an x. Upon doing so, all I have left is a 1 here, but then I still have an x squared here. And here I still am left with a negative 2, but there are no x's left. I do need to check this. This is a perfect square and this is difference, but since that's not a perfect square, I am done. Whereas like on this one, this is a perfect square and this is a perfect square. So there's kind of 2 different ways that I can factor this. I can factor this by factoring the first one, 9x, that's the square root, and the last one. And then the same thing, square root, and then plus minus. How does that work? That gives me my 81x squared. That gives me my negative 9. This gives me negative 27x and positive 27x, which eliminate each other. So that would be a factoring. I can also pull out a common factor. When I do that, I'm left with 9x squared minus 1. And when I factor that, I get the square root, square root, square root, square root, plus minus. Both of those are okay. Let's go back up to here. A trinomial. Trinomial, ultimately, x times x is going to have to give us our first one. These 2 numbers, I'm trying to find something that's going to multiply to get a negative 21, but then when I add them together, I get a 4. So that would be, what, a 7 and a negative 3. Now, check it. That's x squared. That's negative 27. This is 7 minus 3x, which is totally 4. So that works. For this one here, I want to show you 2 different ways. One is purely guess and check. You know that one of them has to be an x and one of them has to be a 2x, like there's no other options. And you know that one of them needs to be a 1 and one of them needs to be a 2. If I put the 1 here and the 2 here, this is going to give me 2x plus 2x, which is 4x. Doesn't work. If I put the 2 here, this gives me 4x plus 1x, which is 5x, and it does work. So that would be the guess and check method. If you use the kind of diamond method, you would say this multiplies to get 4 and 5, so what makes that happen? 4 times 1. But then you have another step you have to do. So I'm going to take my 4 and my 1, that adds to 5, and that's how I'm going to split that up. So let me say that again. This middle guy used to be just a plain old 5x, and then I kind of separated it. And it's a strategic separation because when I do that, if I take out the common factor of these 2, I have 2x, and then I have an x plus 2. And there is nothing common here, so I pull out like a 1, which is left with an x plus 2. These 2 are the same if you did it right, so I can pull that out now of this. I'm left with 2x. I pull that out of that. I'm left with 1, and if you notice, that's exactly what I had at the beginning. This is called factoring by grouping. There's many other ways that you can factor these guys, but they do require more than just this guy here because this had a 1 in front of it, and so when you're done, it works out real nicely. Let's go ahead and look at this one here. This is identical to this one, and well, that's it. Nice perfect squares here. Square root of this is 9. Square root of this is 11. And then I need to get a difference, so that's going to be my 81x squared, that's going to be my negative 121. That'll be negative 99, positive 99, so that will disappear.